welcome. I hope you guys are well. So we're starting our third and final unit today. This is writing for TV and film. Very exciting stuff. Okay, so here's what we're doing. I want to just check in and make sure you guys know what is due when. Then we'll get into the heart of the lesson, which is the story and structure of film. And I'll recap everything at the end and give you your assignment. Alright, so as a reminder, your choice assignment is due Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. So this was handed out in class, I think it was on Thursday, and then I also have it posted on Google Classroom in case you weren't here. In case you don't remember, it looks like this. So it was the review of a video game, either a review of a podcast, a design your own video game, or design your own podcast. So again, I have that linked for you on the class stream if you need to get that again. Okay, so back to this. We are going to be looking at a review of story values, events, and structure. So all of this has to do with story. So first of all, what makes a good story? So take a minute and just think about your favorite movie. So which of these elements stick out to you? So a familiar story, maybe something that you can relate to. Is the narrator reliable? So do you trust the storyteller? Drama and emotion. Is it really, really intense? Is it comedic? Does it have a nice balance? Is it simple? So were you struggling to understand what just happened at the end of a movie? And if so, it might not be your favorite one. Was it something about the setting that really moved you, that you really loved? Maybe it was just the basic plot or the meaning. So did it have something that was just really meaningful to you? Imagery can be part of it too, or the problem that your character was facing. So once you have a basic story that you're thinking of, we're now going to jump into structure. So this is the selection of events from the character's life that's incorporated into a strategic sequence. And of course, it's meant to get that pathos going, so it wants to arouse specific emotions and express a specific view as well. This is a review, but story events are basically the building blocks of a scene. So it's going to create a meaningful change in the life situation of a character, and that is expressed and experienced in terms of a value. So those are those positive and negative values. So if you remember, we used the scene from Toy Story 3 where Buzz Lightyear is confronted with the sort of like the gang of toys run by Lotso the bear, and he's asked to make a choice basically between his friends or between power over the daycare facility. So we start kind of with a negative situation, it turns to potentially positive, and then Buzz chooses his friends, and then Lotso imprisons him, or not just imprisons him, but he turns him to demo mode, and that was a consequence of his choice. So that's story value, the universal qualities of human experience that may shift from positive to negative or negative to positive from one moment to the next. And this is basically those relatable parts of the story. So when Buzz chose his friends over that power, that's a very relatable feeling, to feel like you're loyal to your friends. Okay, so I want to jump now to your structure and story progression. So once you know that those events create a scene, and remember, you cannot have a scene that's effective without having some kind of story event happen. Like if you see a scene in a movie and like nothing happened, that probably should have been edited out. So our story progression is told through the script. So same thing for the theater, we have a script as opposed to, like a book or a novel. Our script is our vehicle for our story. A script, the format is different for film, but we're not going to get into that today. The basic story plot points are the same. So what happens before we act? We have those beats and those scenes. Don't worry so much about that right now. But here is what the act is comprised of. So the scenes turn. Turn means that they change, they shift. So we're talking about those story events and those story values changing from positive to negative. So they're turning. So we call that turning in significant ways. Those little scenes build a sequence. So if you think of it like dominoes, like one event happens, and because that happens, therefore something else happens, and that impacts how we view the rest of the scene. Okay, so going on to the definition of an act. So an act is a series of sequences that peaks in a climactic scene, which causes major reversal of values. So more powerful in its impact than any previous sequence or scene. So this means it's something, I mean, just really major that's happening, as opposed to those like smaller, more minor value shifts. Okay, in movies, the grand structure of movies is 3 parts. So we have an act 1 that's the beginning, act 2 that's the middle, and act 3 that's the end. And I know that sounds really basic, but I'm going to fill in those definitions and give that a little bit more fluff. Okay, so think of the beginning as the setup. That is our typical exposition. And of course, we have our inciting incident, and we have a plot point 1 is actually what is going to set our hero on a journey into Act 2. So Act 2 is called the confrontation or the middle, and that's really when our protagonist is confronting obstacles, figuring out how to fight the main battle or the main villain, or if it's more of a person versus self type of a battle, it's how to tame their own demons. We have a midpoint here that we're going to talk about. It's basically like everything falls apart and what is going to happen from there. And then we move on. And then we have Act 3, the resolution. Plot point 2, that is another turning point. And then Act 3, resolution, we have the climax here. Now, this little piece can be more like here. It could be here. It just depends on what your climax is and how much falling action you need. I think I've mentioned Toy Story 4 before. The climax is like here. Like we have maybe 1 minute of falling action after the climax, but that is more rare. But basically, Pixar can do whatever they want to, and it's going to be fine. Okay, so let's jump in now to a quick overview of that 3-act structure again.
This is essentially the template that has led to the general 3-act structure we see in movies today. The standard 3-act structure comes in, you ready for this? 3 acts. So to summarize every book on screenwriting ever, the first act begins by introducing the hero in their normal world, their everyday life. In Toy Story, Woody the cowboy is Andy's favorite toy, and his life is perfect. Then comes the inciting incident, something that throws off the balance of the hero's world. Talking about Toy Story again, this is the arrival of Buzz Lightyear. Woody's status as favorite toy is now threatened. Then something and or someone says, go on an adventure. Do something about this. Beckoning the hero to embark upon an adventure to fix what's been broken. In The Hobbit, Gandalf shows up and literally says, we're going on an adventure. Like, literally he just says that. The hero then refuses and plays hard to get. This is in every action movie ever. Anyone asks a weary old soldier or cop to help, and he says, I quit that a long time ago. But then he's like, alright, I'll help. And he leaves, and we break into Act 2. The first part of Act 2 is basically where people who edit movie trailers get all their footage. This is what Blake Snyder calls the fun and games, and the promise of the premise. In most superhero movies, this is where the hero is discovering their powers via hilarious hijinks, culminating in their first crime-fighting outing and or saving of a life. It's also where the B-story comes in. The B-story is a secondary strand of the story that supports the greater story. It often comes with a fun new character or a fun new prop. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, this would be the arrival of Marion. In Die Hard, it's the arrival of Al. Sometimes it's even the arrival of the villain. In Star Trek, this is when Nero comes back into our story. So everyone is having fun, and the movie trailer people are happy, they're cutting the trailer, but then, right at the midpoint of the story, everything changes. Things get real. Vulcan blows up, the cops show up, sometimes the hero actually accomplishes what he wanted to accomplish, only to realize that it doesn't do anything. Or it actually makes things worse. Blake Snyder says it can be a false victory or even a false defeat. The second part of Act
This is at all.
brings us to the dark night of the soul. Time to give up. Everything is terrible. In Mission Impossible 3, Ethan witnesses his wife Julia seemingly killed right before his eyes. there's no reason to keep going. But then something happens. Very often it comes from the B story, something that gives us a fighting chance, a breakthrough, our only shot. Sometimes it's not actually a hopeful thing, it's just a further conflict to keep things going. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's when Marion is kidnapped and Indy has to pursue the German sub to get her back. Which brings us to Act 3, where the final battle happens. In a lot of cases, Act 3 actually brings us back to the setting from Act 1, but in a new context. That setting can be physical, thematic, or emotional, or it can just be a totally different place. Again, these aren't rules, they're just formulas. Finally, there's a resolution and our hero settles into their new normal.
Okay, so something this video didn't talk about, but I think is really important, is the ghost and the protagonist ghost. So I'm going to actually lead you through that that structure using one of my favorite movies, The Lion King. So in The Lion King, in the beginning we have Act 1, we have, of course, like the famous Pride Rock with Simba being held up by Rafiki, and basically he's been born to be a king. So it establishes the point of normal, it establishes our major characters, our genre is established, hello singing right from the beginning, we know it is a Disney musical. But we also have the protagonist's need and want established during this time too. So this is all the setup in the first 30 minutes typically in a movie. That's your typical structure. Act 1, 30 minutes, Act 2, 60 minutes, and then Act 3, 30 minutes again. Okay, so we know Simba's need from the Lion King is to live up to his father's wishes. We have this beautiful scene where he steps into his father's paw print and he just has this realization of how small he is and how far he has to go. But Simba's want is to go looking for adventure and danger in order to prove himself. And then later on, it's really to escape his fear and his guilt and his sense of responsibility, not only just for being king, but of his father's death. So we have an inciting incident in The Lion King of that stampede, which was masterminded by Scar, who is Simba's basically evil uncle, and it results in the death of Mufasa, Simba's father. So this is our major plot point. And Scar tells Simba that he has caused the death and encourages him to run away and never return, which of course is not true. He did not cause the death, Scar did, but little Simba doesn't understand that. Thus, Act 2 begins as we start on our protagonist's journey. So, in a hero's journey, our protagonist is haunted by a ghost. So this is almost always something emotional. In other words, it's a problem to overcome and something you might see a therapist for in real life. So Simba's ghost it's his father. It's his father's legacy, his father's memory, and that onus of responsibility he feels for his father's death. And then, like, literally, his father's ghost. Like, when things fall apart, his father literally visits him as a ghost. By the way, have I mentioned that The Lion King is exactly like Hamlet? Anyway. Alright, so what we're now into Act 2, right? Our confrontation. So Act 2 is often in a different setting than Act 1, which is true for The Lion King. Also, we have our B story introduced, and then we keep getting conflicts, little bumps here that keep us propelled towards the climax. So let's see what those are for The Lion King. The B story is introduced, so that's of course Timon and Pumbaa, thank goodness, because we definitely need some comic relief after that horrible death that Mufasa experiences. Thank you, Disney, for always killing off parents. Great. In the new setting, we see our protagonist, so he grows, right? We see that really lovely time lapse via Hakuna Matata. And we see him confronting new challenges. So, for example, vegetarianism, like he learns not to eat other animals, and he's like eats all of these like grubs and plants. So I guess he's not a vegetarian, but almost. And we try to see him run from his ghosts. I mean, literally, the song means no worries. But the ghost always wins.